over here. Welcome to episode 3 of Knights Talk. I'm your host, Rob Leonard, and the Knights of Meaford had 2 games this past weekend, starting, actually Thursday night was the home opener in Meaford versus the Wiarton Schooners, and that was the debut, or Rogers TV's, that was our first telecast of the season. We've got the highlights from that one. There's a lot of them, so take a few minutes and have a look. Hooper back to Vernon. Vernon, nice feed to Hooper, and scores! David Hooper. Vigor. Over the line, short-handed, scores! That goes off the head. Now here come the Knights into the zone. Shot, scores! What a play by number 15, Tyler Strutz. Puck, and here's a breakaway, Callum Queenan. Scores! Callum Queenan. Piece of that.
He just got a little piece of it too.
Now the Schooners working out front, scores! Number 44, Luke Fraser, makes another save. That's cleared into the corner. It's going to go in behind the goal. And the Knights are going to keep it in. Out front and unable to beat Lenway. There's another one, and is it in? Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Goalkeeper Lenway got a piece of it, but he didn't see it. Here's Strutz. Strutz scores! Comes to Strutz. Strutz with a pair already. Clears in front. Nazkov. He is absolutely. Did that go in?
Oh, yeah.
Comes down to Lowry. Shot and scores. Callum Queenan with his second of the game. Nazkov and number 77, Skylar Robertson. Nazkov fires and scores. Knights keep it in. Here's Connor Long. In front, Strutz scores. The post. Breakaway Wiarton, and they score. Thought he was going to try the wraparound. Connor Long fires, tips, and scores. And around his man goes Eric Lowry. Long looks in front. Hooper scores. Strutz knew where he wanted to go, but it just got a little too high on him. Another shot. Lenway must feel like a scores. Finally, Meaford buries it. Gods for Wiarton that this game is over. And the Knights of Meaford come away with a very convincing 17-2 lead. And as you can see by the score, no, you're not seeing things, folks. The Knights of Meaford with an explosion of goals in that game versus the Wiarton Schooners, defeating them by a score of 17-2. And in that, well, let's jump forward to Saturday night. In Wiarton, facing Wiarton again, if you thought 17-2 was bad, the Knights would score 25 goals and defeat the Schooners by a score of 25-1. Not kidding, that was the scores. And Meaford would score 42 goals in 2 games, only allowing 3 against the Schooners. And that basically put the final nail in the coffin of the Wiarton Schooners. They are an expansion team, or were an expansion team this year. They just could not compete with the players they had on the team, couldn't attract any other players. So the official statement from the league is that the Schooners are being allowed a leave of absence for this season, regroup, and try it again next year. So unfortunate for the players in Wiarton, but looking on the website today, I saw a couple of them have found a new home, but I think that was the best decision for everyone concerned. Tyler Strutz, who is going to be here later in the show on Meet the Knights, had 14 points in those 2 games, 6 goals, 8 assists. Another notable, Julian Wilson, got his first action in goal with the Knights in that second game in Wiarton. He faced 13 shots, stopping all 13. 16-year-old from Quebec, I believe, good for him in his first action as a Meaford Knight. And so now the league has started something new this year with the power rankings. And what they do is they have 8 members or 8 executives that'll be coaches or GMs from around the league who will pick their top 40 players, 40 from the north and 40 from the south. So the first week of the power rankings, there were 5 Meaford Knights that were in the top 40. In this edition of the rankings, Meaford has 4 players in there. Tyler Strutz, again, I think I called you Struts earlier, Strutz. Tyler Struts, who was, I believe, opened in 10th, has now moved up to 5th in the power rankings. So he's ranked as the 5th best forward in the North Division. Alex Nazkoff still in there at number 27. A 17-year-old Quebec native Brandon Farrell sitting at 28th. And Nico Walsh in there as well at 36. So let's take a look at the league standings now, if we could, Mark. Really tight in there. You look at the Bradford Rattlers having a great start to their season. They're currently on a 9-game winning streak, sitting there at 10-1 for 20 points. The Almaguin Spartans, who had a 4-game winning streak going until this past Sunday night, they played in Bradford. Bradford beat them by a score of 10-4 to end their 4-game winning streak. New Tecumseth, this is their 3rd year in the league, something that they are not accustomed to, and that is a losing streak. They have lost 4 of their last 5 games, and a bit of a struggle going right now, but if you're going to have a slump, right now is the best time to do it at the beginning of the season. Another newcomer to the league, Ville Marie, having a good start at 7-5. West Nipissing, who will be here on Thursday night, sitting at 6-4-1. Now the Knights sitting in 8th spot right now, but because of the Wiarton team folding, Meaford is going to get a default win tonight. So basically Meaford is sitting at 5-2-1 right now. They have 11 points. That's going to put them ahead of Temiskaming. So then you have Seguin struggling, Fergus, another expansion team in the league this year. They're sitting at 0-6, but they've been more competitive than what Wiarton had been in the start. So Fergus seems to be getting a little bit better as each game goes on. So hopefully they'll get things rolling and get their first win. So now if we could take a look at the Meaford Knights leading scorers. I've been saying this game a whole lot, and it's Tyler Strutz sitting there on top, 12 goals and 10 assists, 22 points. Now, I think he got burned for a goal in that first game. I was positive. Roger said our tally was 17-2, but the league put it in at 16-2. Tyler actually had 5 goals in that game. So, and I double-checked with Tyler, and he said, in fact, he did have 5 goals. So I'm not sure if that reflects it or not. But anyway, his line mate, Alex Nazkoff, sitting there with 20 points. Eric Lowry, the assist man, he's got 14 assists so far with 16. Callum Queenan, I think Callum Queenan's totals right now are very close, or if not exactly the same as what he had the entire season last year. So a great start for Callum Queenan. And take a look down, we got a couple of defensemen in there with Colton Langowski, David Hooper, and Connor Long, all having great starts. And Brandon Farrell, 17-year-old from Quebec City, sitting there with 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. He's going to be on Meet the Knights next week. So, lots of points there for the Knights. A lot of those coming over the past 2 games. Now, if we could take a look at the league's leading scorers, St. George has stacked themselves up with some OHL players. I think they've got, at least 5 former OHLers in there, and I believe Chris Height sitting on top. Chris Hay is a former OHLer. He's got 45 points sitting there. St. George with, I think, 5 spots in the top 10. Almaguin, surprisingly seeing a London player. London have really struggling in the South Division. I believe they're sitting in last place at this point, but 17 goals, 17 assists for Araya there with 34 points. And a former Bradford Rattler, Nicholas Lang, playing in Kingsville this year, he's got 30 points. So let's take a look now at the upcoming games. Now, the schedule has changed with Wiarton falling out of the league. So now the Knights' schedule is going to change a little bit. I believe there were 2 games back to back. Maybe I think the 26th was supposed to be home to Wiarton, but that is now changed to Seguin. So, but the next game, this coming Thursday night, home to West Nipissing. The Knights have had a bit of an easy schedule here, a little bit, playing Wiarton and Fergus a little bit. But I think Thursday night is really going to be a true test. West Nipissing, as I said, having a good start to their season, 6-4-1. I think that's going to be a great matchup Thursday night in Meaford. So get yourselves out there. 7:30 start in Meaford. And then, again, as I said, it's changed. They're going to be home to Fergus on Saturday, 7 o'clock start. That's a rare Saturday game for the Knights. Then we've got Seguin, South Muskoka, West Nipissing again, another matchup with Seguin. Then you take a look from I think they had, according to the schedule, I thought they had 4 and 4 nights. Yes, they do. You look at Thursday the 26th, then they play Friday the 27th, and then Saturday the 28th, Sunday the 29th. And 3 of those games being on the road up north in South Muskoka, West Nipissing, and Seguin. By the time they get home to play Seguin by the time they get to Seguin, that's 4 games of 4 nights. I don't care who you are. That's pretty tough for anybody. So what do we got next? Time for Meet the Knights. And as I said, the gentleman's name that I've been mentioning here quite a few times, Tyler Strutz, is here in the studio with me. And here he is. Tyler Strutz, welcome.
Welcome. How's it going?
Great. Tyler Strutz, you come to us from Lockport, Illinois, which is, you said, about 35 minutes from Chicago.
Yeah, southwest suburb of the city, so about 35 minutes south.
Is this the first time for you playing? I looked at your history online, and this will be the first time you played hockey in Canada?
Yep, first year.
Yeah?
Played in Massachusetts and Florida the year before.
So you've been here since, I guess, mid-August or so?
Yeah, like mid to late August, yeah.
So what's your initial, this weather is not what we normally get. Normally it's really cold out right now. We've had maybe a bit of snow by now, so like we're getting a late summer. But what's your impressions of the Georgian Bay area so far?
I love it. I mean, I've met a lot of great people. Everybody's really nice. I mean, the fans support us, so that's the best. The hockey's great. All my teammates, I love them. So couldn't ask for a better experience so far.
So I got to see a bit in training camp, watching. Everybody was telling me, the coaches were all telling me, this guy's going to be probably the leading scorer this year, and they're right to this point. So, and we got to see a bit in that game against Wiarton. You potted 5 goals, and maybe not a true test for you, but it was very obvious your skill set on some of the goals that you scored that night. So, you know, you worked yourself into the spaces you needed to be, that kind of thing, and potted some goals. So everybody looking for some great things from you this year.
Oh, I'm excited. This year's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoy who's on my line right now. I'm putting up points and putting the puck in the net. And, I mean, I hope that's all that coaches can ask for. I mean, trying to do whatever I can to make them all happy. So.
You've got Alex Nazkov on the line with you, and Alex was a pure sniper last year too. So when I saw that you two were paired on the same line, I was like, wow, that's a lot of firepower on that first line.
Oh yeah, he's a great player. Definitely one of the best players I've played with. He knows when he needs to move the puck. He knows when he needs to shoot. Kid's always got his head up, and I can expect a pass out of nowhere, or I can expect him to shoot and score from anywhere. So he's a fun player to play with. And
the Knights pretty much they kept a good part of their defense intact this year. All new goalies in, but the buzz around the league, and what I was hearing even from the league president, who had watched the Knights a couple of times, said that the Knights have a lot of depth this year. They basically have 4 lines. In his idea is that the Knights can roll 4 lines, one just almost as good as the other.
100%. We've been doing it all year. I mean, come late in games, sometimes we do shorten the bench, but all year we've been able to run 4 lines from start to finish, and it's worked out pretty well so far. I mean, we'd like a better showing. Those 2 losses, nobody likes those, but they happen, and you got a 42-game season for that reason.
That's right, exactly. And so, all right, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go back to Temiskaming a couple of weeks ago. Now, You know, most coaches will say, I will just forget that one, we'll just let it go. In my opinion, I don't know if I'd let that one go, because this team is touted to be near the top this season as a really good team, and you'd love to tell your players just to let that one go, but I think, in my estimation, I might remind you what happened in that game against Temiskaming. You know, you lost 8-1 that night. You basically got behind the 8 ball quick. So, I mean, to pick out what went wrong in that game. So,
I agree. I mean, you got to forget at some point, but there's also got to be learning points off of it. And if you don't learn anything from a game like that, where honestly nothing went right for us, then what's the point of even playing the game? Like, you got to be able to build off your mistakes and build from your lowest point and go up. So that's what we're looking to do. I mean, the 2 Wiarton games were nice. They were good, bring back to reality type games. Just know that, okay, we can do this type of thing. And now we got West Nipissing on Thursday, and so we'll see. That'll be the true test, whether or not we're ready to go or not.
Well, taking a look at the stats, I was looking at the games for Temiskaming, and they had a so-so start at the start, but then it was the game against you guys when they beat you 8-1 that started them going. So you basically caught a hot team in my estimation. They were ready to go because they followed it up with an 8-0 win over I think it was South Muskoka or somebody like that. So like they scored 16 goals in 2 games. So they obviously. Not great for the Knights, but that was the night they just they decided they were going to finally had it come together. So
exactly, they did have a rough start. So I mean, they did come out, they wanted it, and they proved that they wanted it more than us, and they went and got the 2 points.
Be a different story the next time you play them. Right?
100%.
All right,
completely different story.
Okay, so who do you bill it with? Let's talk about your billets for a second.
I'm with the Garners. They're from way out. They're 11th line, but big supporters of the family, or of the Knights family.
Yeah.
And everything's been great so far. Anything they ask me to do, I do. Anything I ask them, they try to help me to their best potential to do. And I'm really excited for the year with them. Couldn't have asked for a better billet.
I know, this will be my 3rd year with doing the play-by-play for the Knights on Rogers TV, and it's really interesting to me, or it's special, the bond that happens between the billets, and the billets just love doing it. They love having the players in their homes and being part of that team atmosphere.
I think they I think the big part is that it's such a small town and everybody knows who you are. And so you become a family with your billets, and your billets also become a family with the Knights. And it's just one big thing that everybody groups together, and there's one common goal for it. And it's to see the players either move on to the next level, win that championship, and just keep going with their lives and move them on, make them better people. And so I don't know. I enjoy my time. So
great. So are you 21 this year? Is this your final year junior?
Yeah, I'm 21.
This is the last one, so you want to make it count, right?
Oh yeah.
Russell Cup?
Yeah, 100%. That's the goal.
All right. Yeah, I tell you what, the tools are there, and everybody's been talking. As you saw by the crowd Thursday night that were there for opening night, that was a pretty decent crowd in Meaford, and.
Oh yeah, people are excited, and I'm excited to play in front of them, and I'm excited to play for them. So.
Well, 7 games. I took a look at the stats, and this is the best start that the Knights have had in team history. So sitting at 5-2-1 right now, that's the best start they've had since ever. So that's a great thing. You just need to keep that going now for the rest of the season. Hope everybody stays healthy. And here's your chance to say hello to everybody at home in Lockport, or anybody you'd like to.
I'm just going to say hi to my girlfriend in Massachusetts, my family in Illinois. They're all here. They call me every day, supporting me, asking me, like, how's everything going and if I need anything. So thank you. I wouldn't be here without you guys.
All right, fantastic. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of Knights Talk. Tyler Struts, thank you so much for being here. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And look forward to seeing more highlight reel goals from you as the season goes on. So
I'll do my best.
Okay, on behalf of producer Mark Perry, I'm Rob Leonard. We'll see you next week on Knights Talk.